The legend of Vinum Mirabile. There is a whisper passed down through centuries of a wine like no other. They call it Vinum Mirabile, the miracle wine. Legend claims it was crafted by Roman gods for their own pleasure. A single sip could ignite passion, rejuvenate the weary and grant desires whispered in the heart. Its recipe, lost to time, became the obsession of alchemists and kings. Each sought the power hidden within the wine's depths, but the Vinum Mirabile, like a fleeting dream, remained elusive, its existence debated in hushed tones. Some believed it to be a mere fable, a bedtime story for adults. Others, like Jeff, knew better. They felt the truth, hidden beneath layers of myth and time, waiting to be unearthed, and Jeff, with his thirst for adventure and his refined palate, was determined to find it. Jeff was a man of exquisite taste. He lived for the finer things in life, a perfectly aged scotch, a first-edition Hemingway, the thrill of a high-stakes poker game. He traveled the world, not for the sights, but for the stories they held, the secrets whispered in ancient stones and forgotten languages. When he heard the legend of Vinum Mirabile, he knew he had found his next adventure. This wasn't just about wine. This was about uncovering a legend, a piece of history lost to the world. It was about the chase, the thrill of the unknown, and the promise of a reward beyond compare. Jeff packed his bags, a worn leather suitcase filled with maps, journals, and a silver pocket knife passed down from his grandfather. His destination, the heart of Tuscany, where history slept beneath rolling hills and the air hummed with the promise of forgotten secrets. His journey had begun. Tuscany welcomed Jeff with open arms and the intoxicating aroma of ripe grapes. Vineyards stretched across the landscape, a patchwork quilt of greens and golds under the warm Italian sun. Ancient villages perched atop hills whispered tales of Etruscan kings and Roman emperors. He spent his days exploring crumbling ruins, deciphering faded manuscripts in dusty libraries, and conversing with weathered old men in sun-drenched piazzas. Each conversation, each clue felt like a step closer to the heart of the mystery. He learned of a hidden monastery, rumored to have housed the last alchemist who possessed the Vinum Mirabile recipe. He discovered ancient Roman catacombs decorated with murals depicting grape harvests and bacchanalian feasts. The deeper he delved, the more convinced he became. The Vinum Mirabile was not a myth, but a tangible piece of history waiting to be discovered. His quest for the Vinum Mirabile was not a solitary one. He soon discovered others were also on the trail, their motives as varied as the grapes used to make wine. An aged professor sought to prove the legend true, a wealthy collector desired its rarity, and a shadowy organization craved its power. Jeff encountered them in dimly lit wine cellars, in the hushed corners of ancient libraries, and amidst the bustling crowds of local festivals. Some became allies, sharing information and resources, while others remained rivals, their eyes reflecting a hunger for the treasure he sought. He learned to tread carefully, to trust his instincts, and to rely on the skills he had honed over a lifetime of adventure. The quest for the Vinum Mirabile had become a dangerous game, and the stakes were higher than he had ever imagined. The trail led him deep into the Tuscan hills to a forgotten Etruscan necropolis. The air hung heavy with the scent of cypress and the silence of centuries. The tombs, carved into the rock face, were adorned with intricate carvings, their faded colors hinting at a vibrant past. Jeff, armed with his grandfather's pocket knife and a tattered notebook filled with his research, deciphered the cryptic messages etched into the stone. He discovered the Etruscans, renowned for their knowledge of herbs and alchemy, had indeed created a wine of extraordinary potency. The carvings spoke of rituals and ingredients, of celestial alignments and the secrets of fermentation. They hinted at a hidden chamber, a final resting place for a king and his most prized possession, the Vinum Mirabile. As Jeff delved deeper into the labyrinthine tomb, he felt a presence, a shadow moving just beyond his sight. He was not alone. His rival, a woman with eyes as sharp as her wit, had been following his every move. She called herself Isabella, a historian, she claimed, but her thirst for the Vinum Mirabile seemed to run deeper than mere academic curiosity. Their paths had crossed before in dusty libraries and crowded markets, their interactions a delicate dance of feigned disinterest and veiled threats. Now, in the heart of the tomb, with the prize within reach, the tension between them crackled like a live wire. "You misunderstand," Isabella said, her voice echoing in the cavernous space. "I don't want the wine itself, I want what it represents: power, immortality, a legacy that will outlive us all." The final chamber was a masterpiece of Etruscan artistry. Frescoes depicting scenes of revelry and abundance adorned the walls, their colors still vibrant after millennia. In the center, resting on a pedestal of carved alabaster, lay a single amphora, sealed with a waxen cork. The air hummed with an almost tangible energy. Jeff could feel the weight of centuries pressing down on him, the anticipation thick enough to choke on. This was it, the culmination of his quest, the moment of truth. He reached for the amphora, his fingers brushing against the cool clay. As he did, a wave of dizziness washed over him. The air shimmered. The frescoes on the walls swirled into a kaleidoscope of colors, and the scent of grapes intensified, becoming almost overpowering. Isabella's laughter echoed through the chamber, sharp and triumphant. "The Vinum Mirabile," she said, her voice laced with a cruel amusement, or rather the illusion of it. "This chamber, this entire tomb, it's a carefully crafted deception designed to test the worthy and ensnare the greedy." She held up a small vial filled with a clear, odorless liquid. "The true elixir," she explained, "is not a wine, but a potion designed to heighten the senses, to amplify desires, to make one believe they are tasting, smelling, experiencing something extraordinary." She stepped closer to Jeff, her gaze piercing. The Etruscans understood the power of perception, how easily the mind could be manipulated. They created a legend, a myth, to protect their secrets, to weed out the unworthy. Jeff, his senses returning to normal, could only marvel at the sheer audacity of it all. The Etruscans had played him, manipulated his desires, and led him on a merry chase through history, and yet he couldn't help but feel a grudging respect for their ingenuity. He returned to his life, his thirst for adventure quenched, but his perspective forever changed. He no longer sought the extraordinary, the elusive treasures hidden in the shadows. Instead, he found joy in the simple pleasures, the warmth of good company, the taste of a perfectly ripe tomato, the scent of rain on dry earth. He learned that the true miracle, the Vinum Mirabile of life, wasn't hidden in ancient tombs or guarded by elaborate deceptions. It was all around him, waiting to be savored if only he took the time to appreciate it. And that, he realized, was a treasure worth more than any legend.